I'm Christian G. Canania, and we are going to discuss the psychological theories. So the main explanations of psychological theories: intelligence, personality, learning, criminal behavior, and crime quotient. Based on psychological theories, which is focused on associations, there are three types of major of theories. Uh, One most is recognized of three major theories. Psychodynamic theory, which is centered on the notions that individuals' early childhood experience influence his or her livelihood for committing future crimes. So, ang major is siya ang centered o tunga-tunga sa usa ka mga bata or teenager pag-abot sa impluwensya. Behavioral theory. So, focusing on how the individual perceptions of the world influence his or her behavior. Ito ay isang pag-aaral batay sa ideya ng lahat na may pag-uugali na nakukuha sa pamamagitan ng pagkondisyon that conditions occur through interaction with the environment. So thus the expanded the work of Gabriel Tardy through behavior modeling and social learning. According to Gabriel Tardy, in his theory of limitations, believed that people learn from what through a process of imitations, that his idea, yung mga nakikita natin ay we try to imitate people. Example, the father and his daughter. Yung papa is nakita ng anak na sumasayaw at ginaya ng kanyang anak. And to explain, we see other things that what people do, and we try to imitate of what we see, and we understand, or this is according to Gabriel Tardy. Cognitive theories, measures premise of which suggests that an individual's perceptions of how it is manifested. Jacob B. 2024 affects his or her potentials to commit crimes. It builds around that premises. These theories, cognitive theories, that a person thoughts control his actions and his her personality, and ito ay isang antas ng kanyang kalagayan na nakakapekto sa kanyang mga potential na gumagawa ng mga krimen. And next is there is 5 characteristic of theories. Personality and intelligence combined: psychodynamic, cognitive, behavioral, personality, and intelligence. So according to Frank Sigmeleger sa 2008, appealing insight into why individual may commit a crime. So there are 3 majors of theories and their meaning. So psychodynamic and behavioral, cognitive. Psychodynamic, there are 2 types of psychodynamic theory. Number 1 is joyness, defined as dynamic process representing between separate individuals who jointly approach each other in third joint virtual space. So, emotional system is a set of structure in the brain that deal with emotions and memory. So, ito yung mga na-feel natin na yung happiness, sadness, or anger. Ito yung emotional system, and it's a part of our brain. This is a structure of our brain. So deals with emotions. So attachment. So attachment is feeling of closeness, of affections. So attachment, kaning attachment is mo ni kanang magdito si Muyab, magkunitay mo kamot, is mo ng attachment. So communications. So kay pag istorya ka sa imong family, sa imong love na. Sunod, number 2 is psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is to help a person change and overcome problems in desire way. Psychological methods, particularly when based on regular personal interactions. It aims to improve individual well-being and mental. So mo ang kaning psychotherapy is mo ni siya ang mutabang sa imong mental health. So mura ni siya og teacher or mong family kay istoryahan nimo na sa imong mga problema, sa imong unsay mga nakita kong mga problema nga nakamagpatabang sa psychotherapy. Kaning mitigate troublesome behavior is mo ni siya ang kanang sultian nimo is dili siya mamati guys siya oo. Ang dili siya kasabot sa imo ba? Siya kasabot. Beliefs is kanang naa siya pag na siya kaugalingong pagtuo na siya pirmi siya sakto kana kay naman siya kaugalingong pagtuo. Tas sunod is ang compulsion thoughts is kanini siyang negative thoughts. Nagkunaw na siya dili maayo. So emotions kanang mo ni siya ang kanang imong anger, happiness, sadness kanang improve relationship. So improve relationship as to take care of yourself, fight fear, and keep your life balance. So i-improve nimo ang imong kaugalingon, imong relationship sa lain tao na social skill. So kaning social skill is kaning share ka sa example na kay kung bata pa ka na kay duwaan i-share nimo sa lain. Ang mo respeto ka sa lain tao, mo cooperate ka sa imong ka-team kana so certain psychotherapies are considered evidence-based for treating some diagnosed mental disorders. So there are different types of psychotherapy techniques. Some are minor variations or based on very different conceptions. Ethics, how to live or how to make a right decision for your daily life of how will you live. Ito is one-to-one sessions between client and therapist. So makipag-istorya ka sa therapist, one-on-one mo duha, bangay mo. Therapist is isulti nimo tanan ng imong problema. You will tell your problem to the therapist, and so that the therapist can help you to how you control your emotions, yourself, para matabangan ka sa therapist. So kaning groups, it includes with the family, friends, psychotherapists may also come from variety of other backgrounds and depending on the jurisdictions may be legally regulated, voluntarily regulated, unregulated. So mo ni siya ang kaning sa unsa ni ang psychotherapist, kaning mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, clinical social workers, marriage and family therapists, professional counselors. So mo ni siya ang psychotherapist. Psychodynamic theory is a study of interrelationship of various parts: mind, personality, psyche, emotional, motivational force, and conscious level. So, the two parts of mental force of psychodynamic theory, number one is the interactions of emotions and motivational force that affect behavior and mental states, especially on subconscious level. So, number two, inner force affecting behavior, the study of emotional and motivational force that affect behavior and states of mind. So, behavior theory maintains that human behavior is developed through learning experience. This behavior is supported by rewards, negative reactions, punishments. So, Albert Bandura, the most prominent social learning theorist of behavioral theory in 1978. So, Bandura maintains that individuals are not born with innate inability to act violently. He suggested that in contrast, violence and aggressions are learning through a process of behavior modeling. In other words, children learn violence through the observations of others. So, di magutanan yun ng panganak na yang salbahe. So, na Kasi nakadepende yun sa bata ug unsay nakita niya sa laing tao. So nakadepende yun na siya sa tao. Nakadepende. Three aggressions acts model in primary sources. Number one is a family interaction. So number two is environmental experience. Individuals who reside in areas that are crime prone more likely to display aggressions behavior than those who reside in low crime areas. Manifestations of unconventional behavior including the inability to gain. So, employment is prone to display aggressions of environmentals. So, they don't have a works is because siya trabaho is because nalulung o drugs. Nalulung siya sa droga. So, drugs. Sunod is alcohol abuse. Siya trabaho tungod is alcoholic para inom. Maghapon, buntag, inom, inom. Failure to obey the local. Dili mo sunod sa balaod sa ilang lugar, sa ilang barangay, ilang syudad. So, states and federal laws. So, dili kasunod sa balaod sa ilang bansa. So, is the most important individuals so unheard to conventional behavior are invested in society and committed to a goal or belief system. They are involved in school or extracurricular activities such as football, baseball, or Girl Scout, and often they have attachment to family. So mass media are responsible for great deal of the violence of our society. So like suggested films, violent video games. So kanang mga video games na patay-patay, sirit-sirit ang dugo. So, sin is television show that depict violence that are harmful to children. Dapat na kaning mga salita na di dapat angay tanaw sa mga bata. No, violent assault. Sunod is verbal heckling or insults is kanang na nagistorya sa tubangan sa public place is subat lang ka kalit ning comments ka og dili maayo. Kaning disagreement is mo na siya ang the situation then they duha ka buktaw na nagistorya pero di sila same og opinion. So di disagree ang usa na kana chob na di siya mo agree sa iyang ging istorya is na siya kog kalingong kuan yang idea na kanang argument siya argument sa tao na iya ka istorya mo na siyang disagreement and the ability to achieve his or her goals and aspirations.
Good day, sir. Good day, classmates. I am Jennifer Buya, and I'm going to tackle about the two psychological theories of crime, which is the cognitive theory and personality and crime. Okay, let's proceed to the next one, which is the third psychological theories of crime, which is the cognitive theory. Cognitive theory is one of the three major psychological theories of crime, which is cognitive theory is the one of the significant psychological theories of crime. So psychologists focus on the mental processes of individuals. Nag-involve na siya intellectual activities such as thinking, reasoning, o remembering kay mental processes of individuals man. Next is cognitive theories attempt to understand how criminal offenders perceive and mentally represent the world. So, ang cognitive theories ni try to sila to understand how criminal offenders masabtan and mentally represent the world. And then let's proceed to the two prominent pioneering during 19th century. The two prominent, which is Wilhelm Wundt and William James. Next, let's proceed to the two sub-disciplines of cognitive theory. The first one is the moral development branch, focus on which is understanding how people morally represent and reason about the world. So when you say moral, asal man na nato sa ato kaugalingon. So it focus on which is understanding how people morally represent and reason about the world. Kung unsa nato representa ang atong kagadang asal. Then next is the information processing. Focus on the people, focus on the way people acquire, retain, and retrieve informations. So, information processing sa pangan pa lang niya daan is information processing sa pag-process. Then, sa like acquisition kanang pag-angkon, then retention is kanang paghawid, then retrieval is kanang pagbawi. Then another pioneer is si Lawrence Kohlberg, who applied the concept of moral development to criminological theory, and he believed that individuals pass through stages of moral development. So nituo siya nga muagi ang tao sa stages of moral development. So ang most important nga theory ni Lawrence Kohlberg is the notion that there are levels, stages, and social orientation. And then let's move on to the next theory, which is the personality and crime. Personality is defined as something that makes us what we are, which makes us different from others. And most well-known theories of personality is the Big Five model of personality. So, kahibaw naman dyan tatanan what is personality, and each one of us has our own personality. So, wala dyan iba nga makasundog. It makes us unique kung unsa dyan ta nga pagkatao. It makes us different from others. Then, siya well-known nga theories of personality, which is the Big Five model of personality, the 5 domains. The first one is the neuroticism, involves emotional stability. So, ang neuroticism is the trait disposition to experience negative effects, including anger, anxiety, self-consciousness, irritability, emotional instability, and depression. Kay emotional man siya, diha nag-evolve ang ato ang emotion. So, ang matag-usa nato nga high ang score ani nga domain, mao to ang mga tao nga naka-experience those negative effects, which is irritability, anxiety, ana, depression. Then, ang mga score og low ani nga domain is described as calm and relaxed. And then, let's proceed to the extraversion, characterized by sociability, excitement, and stimulation. So, ang extroversion is anha na ma-measure of how energetic ang isa ka tao. Like, if he or she is friendly or sociable kaayo. Like, ug unsa siya makig-socialize sa laing tao, outside and inside. So, og si kinsa man ang taas og score sa extroversion or extroverts, sila tong mga very active, talkative, and assertive. Then those person who is extroverts is they are more optimistic toward the future. In contrast, introverts mo na sila ang mga makarakterize by being reserved, independent, and shy. So, iba-iba dyan ang mga tao na may mga uban na dili gusto magighalubilo, unlike sa extroverts na very active kay sila when it comes to socialize. Then next is the openness, referring to individuals who have an active imagination, find pleasure in beauty, are attentive to their inner feelings, and have a preference for variety, are intellectually curious. So, ang openness is how open-minded and imaginative, creative ang usa ka tao. Then, sa open-minded, ang isa ka tao, unlike sa less open-minded nga they tend to avoid change and nag-focus lang sila sa few specific interests, unlike sa open-minded nga they are open sa mga new ideas or novel ideas. Then, ang nag-score og high sa openness is sila tong mga willing mo entertain unique or novel ideas or new ideas and maintain unconventional values and experience positive and negative emotions more so than individuals who are close-minded. Then, ang mga tao na low ang score sa openness is sila tong mga often prefer the familiar, behave in conventional manner and have a conservative viewpoint. And then next, let's proceed to the fourth, which is the agreeableness related to interpersonal tendencies. So, ang agreeableness is a personality trait na siya nga nag-describe sa person's ability na they put others' needs before their own. It is being empathetic and finding pleasure in helping others and working with people who need more help. Mailhan sila as a kind, cooperative, and warm. So, ang tao nga high og score aning domain is considered as warm, soft-hearted, og sympathetic, og forgiving, and especially trusting of tao. Then those who have a score and those who have a low score in this domain is moto sila ang mga tao na mga hard-hearted, intolerant, impatient, and argumentative. And then let's proceed to the last domain, which is the conscientiousness. Conscientiousness focuses on a person's ability to control impulses and exercise self-control. So, ang conscientiousness defined as the propensity to follow socially prescribed norms for impulse control, to be goal-directed, to plan, and to be able to delay gratification. So, ang mga tawo nga high og score ani nga domain are described as organized, thorough, efficient, determined, and strong-willed. And those who are conscientious are achieve high academic and occupational desire. So in contrast, people who have low score in this domain are thought to be careless, lazy, and more likely assign fault to others than to accept blame themselves. That's all for cognitive theory.
Hi, I'm Maria Bianca Tonga. I'm the reporter of Psychopathic Personality and Intelligence and Crime. Psychopathic personality, antisocial personality, psychopathy, or sociopath is terms used interchangeable. Sociopath, a product of a destructive home environment. Psychopath, product of a defect or aberration within themselves. Antisocial personality, characterized by low level of guilt, superficial charm, above average intelligence, persistent violation of the rights of others. Incapacity to form enduring relationship, impulsivity, risk-taking, egocentricity, manipulativeness, forcefulness, and cold-heartedness, and swallow emotion. The origin may include traumatic socialization, neurological disorders, and brain abnormality. Intelligence and crime. Criminologists have suggested for centuries that there exists a link of intelligence and crime. The ability to predict criminals from non-criminals is the ultimate goal. The ideology or concept of IQ and crime has crystallized into the nature versus nurture debate. Nature versus nurture, a psychological argument that is related to whether the environment or heredity impact the psychological development of individuals. Research on the prison population has consistently shown that inmates typically score low on IQ tests. Travis Hershey and Michael Hindlang, 1997, these scholars suggested that low IQ increases the livelihood of criminal behavior through its effect on school performance. Richard Herrnstein and Charles Morey, 1994, the second Nature versus Nurture study that warrants attention in their book, The Bell's Curve. These scholars suggested individuals with a low IQ are more likely to commit crime, get caught, and be sent to prison. Importantly, these authors transport the IQ and crimes link to another level. Research concludes those criminal offenders who have been caught and those who have not have an IQ lower than the general population.
Good day, sir. Good day, classmates. I am Julina C. Fernandez, and I'll be the one to discuss the Freudian analytic theory and the Freudian analytic theory. Freudian psychoanalytic theory. Sigmund Freud, May 6, 1856 to September 23, 1939, is considered to be the founder of the psychodynamic approach psychology, which looks closely at the unconscious drives that motivate people to act in certain ways. The role of the mind is something that Freud repeatedly talked about because he believed that the mind is responsible for both unconscious and conscious decisions based on drives and forces. Unconscious desires motivate people to act accordingly. The ID, the ego, and the superego are three aspects of mind Freud believed to make up a person's personality. Freud believed people are simply actors in the drama of their own minds, pushed by desire, pulled by coincidence. Underneath the surface, our personalities represent the power struggle going on deep within us. In order to make up a person's personality, na ay tulo ka aspects para mabuo ang pagkatao ng isang tao or maging ganap na tao ang isang tao. First is the ID, second is the ego, and the third is superego. ID is the primitive part of the person's mental makeup that present at birth. So pag una pa lang pag anak nato, present na ang ID. The ID, according to Freud, is the part of the unconscious that seeks pleasure. His idea of ID explains why people act out in certain ways. The ID is the part of the mind which holds all the human's most basic and primal instincts. It is the impulsive unconscious part of the mind that is based on desire to seek immediate satisfaction. The ID does not have the grasp of any form of reality or consequence. Freud understood that some people are controlled by the ID because it makes people engage in need-satisfying behavior without any accordance to what is right or wrong. So sa IDDI, kung kabantay mo, it happens sa kanang bata. For example, the bata is nangayo og something sa iya mama, then her mother can't give it to him or her. Then, ang bata gusto siya na kana na butang makuha dayon. Kung dili nimo mahatag, ang gusto niya, ang iya gipangayo, it's either magbahis siya or muhilak. Then, Freud also believed that this kind of behavior can be cured. Ma-cure siya because during pagka bata pa lang nato, in that stage we are still learning. We're in the stage of process. It depends sa people nga nasa ato palibot. It's either ang ato mabatian sa ila is good or bad. It depends sa guidance na gihatag sa tao sa ato palibot. Next is the ego. In order for people to maintain a realistic sense here on earth, the ego is responsible for creating balance between pleasure and pain. It is impossible for all desires of the ID to be met at the ego, and the ego realizes this, but continues to seek pleasure and satisfaction. Sa ego na stage, for example, ang usa ka bata, gusto siya makuha ang usa ka butang sa ego, kay bawo na siya mo control sa iyang gusto. Like for example, ang kana na butang gusto niya maiyaha, kay bawo na siya nga kana na butang dili pwede makuha niya dayon. But in this stage, siya mangita na siya pamaagi para makuha ang kana na butang sa pamaagi na iya gusto, but dili gyapon siya magmatter kung ang gibuhat is sakto or dili. Although both the ID and the ego are unconscious, the ego has close contact with the perceptual system. It is true because ang dili sa ego na naman siya kamalayan, kumbaga kay baw na siya sa iyang gibuhat, but wala sa kay baw siya na iya gibuhat, but ang iyang gisik is for satisfaction ra kanang, kumbaga basta nabuhat lang niya iya gusto, nahatag lang, na-satisfy lang niya iya self muna ang kuan. But the ego has the function of self-preservation, which is why it has the ability to control the instinctual demands from the ID. So, kay bawo na siya mo control sa kanang unsay gipangayo sa ID, kumbaga kanang na stage kay pasidong na siya sa kanang makasabot-sabot na siya ba kung unsay sakto or dili. But naghatag siya og plano, pero based ra sad sa iya gusto, wa siya nag-base sa kanang kung pwede ba na buhaton para sa uban. Ang iya kay mo satisfy lang ang iyang gusto. Next is superego. The superego, which develops around age 4 or 5, incorporates the morals of the society. Freud believed that the superego is what allows the mind to control its impulses that are looked down upon morally. The superego can be considered to be the conscience of the mind because it has the ability to distinguish between reality as well as what is right or wrong. Superego is our conscience or conscientia. In this stage, we know what is right or wrong. Kay baw na ta mo identify kung unsay sakto sa dili. Kumbaga nagayda na ta diri sa mga tao sa to palibot. Kay baw na ta na kana na butang na gusto nato dili na pwede maato, or kumbaga maato na siya pero naay taas nga proseso. Like for example, ganahan ka ana na butang sa ID na level, gusto ka makuha dayon na nimo. Sa ego, magplano ka pero nagplano kag butang na mabuhat nimo to have that thing, but without
kanang wala ka nag-consider kung sakto ba or dili ang imong actions, as long as nakasatisfy ka sa imong gusto. Diri sa super ego, kay baw ka na nakay kamalayan na ang imong gibuhat sakto or dili, pwede ka mapriso or mamatay sa imong gibuhat na aksyon. Sa ego, it is your consent. Muna siya ang mustorya sa imong kagalingon na dili na pwede nimo buhaton na butang kay makasala ka sa Ginoo or sa kaning inyong society. Like for example, kung mangawat, makasala ka. Ang super ego, morality man siya, mo siya mo sulti sa kuan na ayaw gyud na buhata. The super ego has two separate categories: the ideal self and the conscious. The conscious contains ideals and morals that exist within society that prevent people from acting out based on their internal desires. Muna ako giingon na ay morality ang tao, na konsensya. Normal sa usa ka tawo nga nay konsensya kay we are born with consent. It's either na-cover lang na tungod sa mga tao nga nasa imong palibot, but sa ato self naa jud ang konsensya. Either mapakita na nato or dili, mag-base ra sad na sa mga tao nga naa sa ato palibot. Kung ang ato makita pirmi kay mga mag-away ang family, walay love, walay care sa usag-usa, so ang kanang atong ma-feel sad, dili na to mapakita kung unsa ang pagkakita. Kumbaga nay abnormality sa stage sa pag kailan nato sa ato self, kumbaga inana. Then, the ideal self contains the image of how people ought to behave according to society's ideals. For example, pareha sa ato, kung walay gobyerno na nagkuan sa ato, nag-control, nay possibility na ang Philippines is gubot. Sad na nahitabo sa ato self, kung walay kaning super ego nga mag-control sa ato self, ang atong life is gubot. Walay love, walay happy, puro miserable ang childhood, then may possibility na ang atong life is unhappy. Dapat sa bata pa lang gitrain na ta na mubuhat og sakto, og gi-identify na ta kung unsay sakto sa sayop. Sa ID sad, di ba ang sa stage na iti kay dili ang imong gusto kay kanang mga butang lang. Pareha sa atong self na nag-grow, ang atong mga needs ug wants mag-grow sad na. Sa bata pa ka, di ba, imong gusto kay duaan lang. Pagkadako nimo, magtubo man sad ang imong mga wants, like gusto na kag car, house na dako, o mga wants na gusto nimo maimo sad. In that stage, ID sa very first pa jud, sa ID dapat nag-develop ang ato mind or nag-gain na og mga moral para sa maabot na future, kay bawo na taon say sakto sa dili. Sa ID dapat ma-cure na siya, dapat magaydan tag maayo para sa pag-abot sa panahon, kay bawo na ta na ang kana na butang na ato buhaton na ay consequence kung ato na ipadayon. It's either mapriso, mamatay ta sa ato gibuhat na action. We are responsible for our action. based on the book. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, sir. Good day, classmates. I am Sarah Mary Martinito. I will going to discuss with my assigned topics, which are anxiety and defense mechanism and low IQ theory. So, anxiety and defense mechanism. Sigmund Freud proposed a set of defense mechanism in one's body. This set of defense mechanism occurs so one can hold a favorable or preferred view of defense. For example, in a particular situations when an event occurs that violates one's preferred view of themselves. So si Sigmund Freud ang nag-propose sa defense mechanism. Example niya is kung naa daw sitwasyon nga mag-violate sa usa ka gusto sa katao, and that is necessary for itself to have some mechanism to defend itself against this unfavorable event. So importante daw, matod pa ni Sigmund Freud, importante daw sa usa ka tao siya ko galingon nga importante nga naadjud panlaban sa mga butang nga mahitabo sama ning mga unfavorable event. So Freud's work of defense mechanisms focus on how the ego defends itself against internal events or impulses. That defense mechanisms are used to handle conflict between the ego, ID, and the superego. Freud noted that a major drive for people is the reduction of tension, and the major cause of tension was anxiety. So mo ano to, the defense mechanism ko no, nag-focus siya sa ego, depende siya sa ID, the ego, and the superego, kaya magkalahi man sila about conflict situations. So Freud noted nga ang pinakauna daw kuno nga tukuyin sa usa ka tawo kay ang maibanan ng tension nga mag-cause siya sa anxiety. Muna niya siya ang padulngan nga magka-anxiety ng usa ka tawo nga tungod sa iyang pagsigig huna-huna. So he identified the three types of anxiety, which is the reality anxiety, neurotic anxiety, and moral anxiety. So reality anxiety is the most basic form of anxiety and is based on the ego. It's based on the fear of real and possible events. So kung siyang reality anxiety, based ni siya sa kanang mga nag-isahay natay kahadlok tungod ng mga possible jud nga event nga mahitabo. For example, kanang akan kag iro sahay, or being beat by a dog, or falling off of a roof. Sahay ka nang muratag mahug. For example, kasi sobra na nga kahadlok sahay. So the neurotic anxiety next comes from an unconscious fear that the basic impulses of the ID will take control of the person, leading to eventual punishment from expressing the ID's desires. So kani reality o neurotic anxiety, gikan siya sa kanang mga sa atong unconscious nga fear nga mo'y mag-take control sa katao. So leading to eventual punishment from expressing the ID's desires, which is maka-apekto sa mga desisyon nato. So, moral anxiety comes from the superego. It appears in the form of fear of violating values or moral codes and appears as feelings like guilt or shame. So, kani siya, which is the superego, sad mang kasagaran mahitabo kung kita usahay na ikahadlok, like mahadlok na maguba, kung ang mga maayo na nabuhat like feeling nato is guilty or na tayo murag mauwaw usahay nga feeling na makaapekto sa ato attitude kay tungod nagbista sa sakto ug sa mga dili nga maayo na nabuhat. Next is when anxiety occurs, the first response is to seek reaction's way of escaping the situation by increasing problem solving efforts, and a range of defense mechanisms may be triggered. So kung ang anxiety ko no is ang mo yato mo na unaan, ang first yun na seek sa ato mind is mangita di siya paagi katwiran para lang makalikay sa mga sitwasyon nga like makahuna-huna sa mga problema kung saan pag solve sa muna mga problems nato nga maabot na siya sa ang atong defense mechanism is makasukol jud siya if natin mga problema mas kahuna-huna gid tag pamaagi. So defense mechanism often appear unconsciously and tend to distort or falsity reality when the distortion of reality occurs resulting in reduction of tension or experiences. So ang defense mechanism kuno kasagaran mo tungha siya murag intention or tend niya nga murag baliktad gani nga di mamaayo ang mapasama ang like ang tinuod jud nga panghitabo murag pilit jud niya nga baliktaron ba which is resulting niya is reduction sa tension of one experiences makaiban siya sa tension about sa mga experiences sa katao. So Sigmund Freud noted a number of ego defenses which were noted throughout his work, but his daughter Anna Freud developed and elaborate of them. So si Anna Freud, ang daughter ni Sigmund Freud, may nag-elaborate sa defense mechanism, mga defense mechanism. So these are the defense mechanisms. First is the denial, displacement, intelligence, projection, rationalization, reaction, formation, regression, repression, suppression, sublimation. So first is denial. This is believing that what is true is actually true. So kani siyang denial kay murag like na ay kanang tinuod jud siya nga panghitabo pa niya ang imo jud hunahuna is pilit jud nimo nga dili patuuhon like murag lisod sa imo na dawato na tinuod jud siya nga nahitabo. So displacement, taking out impulses on a less threatening target. So displacement mo na siya ang halimbawa pag murag makuha niya ang imong mga gipang huna-huna which is murag kag mabalaka about mo na mabalhin ng imong mga panghuna-huna sa imong kagalingan. Next is intellectualization, avoiding unacceptable emotions by focusing or the intellectual aspects. Intellectualization mo ni siya ang kanang murag imo avoid ang imo mga na feel like sa mga dili madawat nimo nga butang mo which is nakafocus ka sa kanang mga maayo nga aspeto sa about life nimo. Next is projection is attributing uncomfortable feelings to others. So mag-attribute ka which is magpalagay ka about sa na feel about sa mga katwiran nimo sa imong di nimo murag masulti mga uncomfortable feelings nimo. Next is rationalization, creating false but believable justifications. Murag maghimo kag mga di mga katuohan nga di nimo matuohan nga di masakto og justify ba about kung tinuod ba dyan na siya nga kuan mga katwiran. So reaction formation, this is taking the opposite belief because the true belief causes anxiety, which is usahay sa naatay mga tinuuhan sa ato nga dili jud siya magkapareha, like salungat jud siya. Muna usahay makakos nato nga or natag maglibog usahay sa siyempre magkalailahi magyud kita sa ato kaugalingon lahi magyud tinuuhan. Muna siya usahay makakos jud anxiety tungod sa sobra na pa atong giunang una. Next is regression, which is going back to a previous stage of development. Ini siya mo siyang stage sa ato life na murag regret mo na times nga going back sa ato kung unsa ta sa nagdevelop sa ato kaugalingon na dito mga regret nga diagian. Next is repression, pushing uncomfortable thoughts out of conscious awareness. Repression man siya murag pilit jud nimo nga isulti or masulti nimo sa imong mga saloobin jud sa imong kaugalingon nga conscious ka na gusto kang makahibaw para ma-aware sad ka or sa uban minana. So next is suppression, consciously forcing unwanted thoughts out of our awareness. So kani siyang suppression is murag parehara siya sa repression. Murag tuyuon dyan mo ba force ang murag na mga di nimo ka magdi bukas sa imo kaugalingon nga di mo nga masulti jud para ma-aware lang jud ka. So next is sublimation, redirecting wrong urges into socially acceptable actions. These defense are not under the unconscious, will use one or more to protect oneself from stressful situations. Neurosis develops such as anxiety states, phobias, obsessions, or hysteria. So from the word redirecting, which is murag i-change nimo ang path into maayo na siya nga pangbuhat, murag pilit jud nimo na ilisa ng mga inanang kuan tungod para lang jud ka ma-accept sa like sa imong mga actions imo jud isakto inana para maprotektahan ang protect oneself from stressful situations para lang like dili sobraan sa kuan yung mga una di ka ma-stress which is maka-develop siya into anxiety na kay tungod sa inato nga pamangitabo. Next is low IQ theory. A popular argument against IQ as a cause of crime criticizes IQ test as only measuring middle class knowledge and values rather than innate intelligence. As a result, the observation that some minority groups and the poor score low on IQ tests simply reflects their diverse cultural backgrounds. So, ang kaniyang IQ kasagaran ko no mag-cause of crime tungod sa ang ko lang niya gi-measure is the middle class knowledge about the values ko or kani siya nga observation mag-reflex ni siya about sa binuhatan like sa cultural backgrounds sa tao na. The same group also commit proportionally more crime because they suffer structural disadvantages such as poverty, discrimination. Some people who score low on IQ tests also tend to commit more crime. And so the IQ and crime are empirically correlated. So kasagaran ko no sa mga tao nga naka-commit og crime kay tungod sa ilang score low IQ test mo na sila makatend sila makakommit sila og crime is tungod sa nagsuffer sila sa structural disadvantages mo siya nga observation nila nga experience about sa ilaha nga structure nila. So mo siya ang the IQ cause of crime holds the school, teacher, and administrators treat students differently by perceptions of the students. IQ holds that even if all people commit crime with equal frequency, less intelligence people would be less able to evade detection and would be arrested more often. So ang kasagaran ko na mahitabo kay mga tao nga low IQ which is murag wala di na sila makadefend sa ila kaugalingon patungod mo lagi na dili ilang una is murag kulang nana mo silang kasagaran ma-arrest kung usa ka kriminal ingon siya kuwang yang di siya makadefend sa iyang kaugalingon mo ni kasagaran ni nani mahitabo. So ito nga sa IQ mo ni siya ang kasagaran na nagani nga mag-cause siya sa crime kung ang sa katao is low ang iyang kay IQ mo dyan niya ang kasagaran na mahitabo like sa school teacher or administrations nga motreat sa students nila nga different ra kayo ba sa about sa ilang perceptions sa pagkita sa estudyante which is usahay ang estudyante is maapektuhan sa sila sa yun nga o dili fair nga pag-treat. So IQ to crime through school performance. Less intelligence students do less well in school, which result academic frustration. These frustrations in turn weakens their attachment and commitment to schooling and awaken man to school. So ang IQ sa day mo na siyang kakumit sa dako na IQ to crime daw through school performance which is less intelligence sa mga estudyante nga margamay ra sila oportunidad abot sa schools tungod murag base sa ilang intelligence nga less inana which is makaresult sa ilang frustration sa ilang kaugalingon muna nga murag mawada na sila commitment sa pag-eskwela nga makaweekend sa ilang band to school murag wada gana na sa ilang pag-eskwela nana. So one last approach to IQ and criminal behavior might decrease IQ. Many facets of criminal lifestyle can impair cognitive abilities, including physical injuries, especially head traumas, drug use, and withdrawing from school. So muna to siguro kung sa mga sagaran na mahitabo nginana nga with low IQ kasagaran jud sa criminal maka-tend mo ito maka-tend sila criminal behavior nila nga may inana. Pero siguro kung mas taas yun ang panghuna-huna sa usa ka tawo, dili mabuhat niya ang mga like makakos og mga inani ba sa injury na example commit siya crime about sa katao. So, okay. Thank you.
Good day everyone, especially to you sir. I am Mark Joseph Piazzo. My topic is all about attention deficit hyperactivity theory and frustration aggression theory. Attention deficit hyperactivity theory. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, a mental disorder of the neurodevelopmental type, characterized by problem paying attention, excessive activity, or difficulty controlling behavior. Symptoms appear before a person is 12 years old, are present for more than 6 months, and cause problem in at least 2 settings, such as school, home, or recreational activities. It affects about 5 to 7% of the children when diagnosed via the DSM-1V criteria and 1 to 2% when diagnosed via ICD-10 criteria. About 30 to 50% of the people diagnosed in childhood continue to have symptoms into adulthood, and between 2 to 5% of the adults have the condition. ADHD management recommend a combination of counseling, lifestyle changes, and medication. Its diagnosis and treatment have been considered controversial since 1970s. The condition was officially known as Attention Deficit Disorder or EDD from 1980 to 1987, while before this it was known as hyperkinetic reaction of childhood. Frustration aggression theory. Frustration aggression hypothesis, also known as frustration aggression displacement theory, is a theory of aggression proposed by John Dollard, Neil A. Miller in 1939 and further developed by Miller in 1941 and Leonard Berkowitz in 1969. The theory says that aggression is the result of blocking of frustration, a person's effort to attain a goal, but cannot respond to this for fear and loathing his job. He may go home and take his anger and frustration out on his family. Frustration aggression hypothesis attempts to explain why people scapegoat. It attempts to give explanation as the cause of violence. The theory developed by John Dollard and colleagues says that frustration causes aggression, but when the source of frustration can't be challenged, the aggression gets displaced onto innocent target. Yale Group. According to them, frustration is the condition which exists when a goal response suffers interference, while aggression is defined as anxiety whose goal response is injury to an organization or organism. Surrogate experimentation. The frustration aggression theory has been studied since 1939 and there have been modifications. Deal and Anderson presents a study that questions whether frustration that is justified or not plays a role in future aggression. They found that participants in the unjustified frustration group rated the research staff to have less ability and likability, knowing this would affect their financial situation as graduate students. The justified frustration group rated the staff as less likable and having less ability than the control group. but more than that of the unjustified frustration group. These results support the hypothesis that frustration can lead to aggression. Dollar et al. 1939 proposes that aggression is always the result of frustration. This corresponds with the following two postulates. Number one, aggression behavior requires the existence of frustration, and the existence of frustration leads to some kind of aggressive behavior. Conscientiousness. The fifth domain focuses on a person's ability to control impulses and exercise self-control. People who score low on this domain are due to be careless, lazy, and more likely assign fault to others than to accept blame themselves.